amazing origin story that I cannot wait to get into, straight from Bakersfield, California. Part of our community since summer of 2022. Pretty new.
Very cool.
New. Donna Chicca, welcome to the show. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Donna, you are our guest investor today. I know that you own 2 properties with JWB. Why don't you tell us a story of how you got into real estate investing? I can't wait for everybody.
I haven't heard this yet. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
Well, as I was saying, at the time I was still teaching because this started a couple of years ago for me. And I was playing the cash flow game with my grandchildren that I was keeping for the week. And my oldest grandson, who was 16 at the time, said, and he was quite good at this cash flow game, and he was a winner every time. And he just seemed to get out of the rat race. Well, he looked at me and he said, "Grandma, is this true? Can this really happen in real life?" And I thought, I didn't have anything to show him that it was true. So because that wasn't my life experience. My life experience was I worked a W-2 job. I saved in the 401k, followed all the rules that they told us to follow, and it fell short. So I just decided I wanted to leave a legacy for my grandchildren, more my grandchildren than even my own children, because they're young. So they're going to be open more, I believe. And so we sold our big mansion house that we had paid off and bought a house with a loan, a little tract house, and took that money and invested there in Cape Coral, and then took our 401ks and moved them into self-directed IRAs or 401ks. I'm sorry, that's not an IRA. That's a little bit different. Anyway, and started buying properties, and I want to leave a legacy. Financially, I want to leave a legacy that when I am no longer on this earth, that those properties could still be used for God's work. But also, one of my big things is that my grandchildren can see that there are other options. I wrote a news report, a fake news report, and it's called, my new company, which does not exist, is called Options Investing. And I want them to know there's options out there other than just putting your money in the 401k and hoping for the best. And so I'm excited to see what happens and leave that legacy for my grandbabies.
Wow.
Is that something else?
What a story, man. I have chills. That is so cool.
And right now it's time to show you how your portfolio is doing from GC. You ready for that?
Yes.
All right.
All right, Donna, we're going to jump right into it here. And this one's going to be a little different as far as reviewing the portfolio and the performance here. And the reason is because Donna and her husband, Chris, they're so new, right? When you're doing an IRR, it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do that when you've only owned the property for a few months. So we're not really going to look at the IRR because it really doesn't pertain, right? But what we are going to do is take a look at the performance and get a little bit more granular on your properties within the first few months of ownership, because this is something that I think we can shed a light on, which will be a cool learning experience for everybody. Yeah. So Donna, here are your 2 properties that we closed on here. We have the property at 8414 Free Avenue, which you closed on in September of 2022. That was the cash purchase at a purchase price of $250,000. And then we have the property at Camfield, which closed about a month later. And that's the one that we did the loan, it sounds like, with Bob Cash and his team. And that's a non-recourse loan, which is required when you're buying a property in a retirement account like a 401k or an IRA. So you can see the purchase price of $255,000 there. And then Donna put down 50%, which is very normal for putting down for your down payment requirement for a non-recourse loan. Your interest rates are going to be higher. It's interesting. 7.75% for an interest rate was like 4 points higher than what a conventional loan was in the beginning of this year. You know, it's not that much higher than what a conventional loan is these days, which is interesting. But your non-recourse loans are always going to have a higher interest rate because it's a totally different loan product, as well as a loan term, right? And you can see the loan term is 15 years on this product, which is very normal for a non-recourse loan. Did I miss anything there, Donna? Nope. And the cool thing is, even though it sounds like there was maybe some challenges with the Camfield Street property, we got it done. And we were able to add that to your portfolio, which is certainly really exciting. So next, we'll take a look at a little bit more of an in-depth performance review of 8414 Free Avenue. And the point that I wanted to highlight here is that when you look on a property evaluation, when you make a decision on an investment property, do your best to look kind of like year over year. How much income is this going to be returning back to me? And that's the best way to do it. However, through that first year, it's not actually a straight line, right? What happens is in the beginning of owning an investment property, you have certain costs that hit right off the bat. Donna, can you think of a cost that hits right off the bat when you buy a turnkey rental property that's rented out?
Well, you have your lease up
There you go.
and then also your taxes and your insurance for the year.
Right. So let's talk about lease up, or another term to use is tenant placement fee, right? When your home is rented, your property management company is going to earn a fee for placing that resident. And that's a one-time expense, but that's a big expense, right? And you haven't built up a lot of cash flow at that point because you don't have any rent coming in before then, right? You have to pay the lease up fee or pay the tenant placement fee in order to get the rental income. So when you're looking at your first few months of performance on your rental property, and this is across the board for everyone, I guess with the exception of those who take advantage of the incentive that we're offering.
Yeah.
If you put a property under contract by the end of this month, we actually are waiving your tenant placement fee. So absent of that incentive, you're going to see lower returns right off the bat simply because of this tenant placement fee. And that's what we see with Donna's performance here on Free Avenue. It usually takes about a year, call it 6 months to a year, for your performance on the cash flows to hit the expectations. And that's simply because you have this big expense day one, and then you overperform to buoy that out for the rest of the year. So cool little nugget and teaching point for those who maybe haven't invested yet. But this is where we are for your property on 8414 Free Avenue. We've got 2.2% annualized return on investment. Well, that's a lot different than 14.5 that we have seen on our property evaluations on the property of the week. Donna, can you talk to me about that percentage return? Like, how do you feel about that? What do you think your expected returns on investment would be for this property?
Well, I understood going in that it was going to take time before I was going to see the return.
Mm-hmm.
And so I recognized that going in. I don't think my husband did as much. And so he got very panicked about it. But for the newbies that we are, I'm going to call myself a newbie, it's good. I'm okay with it because this is my other option, being in the stock market, right?
I'm not happy that your money is only performing 2% right now. I'm not happy about that. But what this is reflecting all profit centers not named home price appreciation, right? And so as your property has more time, you will see home price appreciation, and you will also see the rental income offset the initial expense that you had. So, but it's important for people to know when you're buying a property right off the bat, and if you are using non-recourse financing, your expected returns on investment 3 months in are much lower than what you are going to see on your property valuation. Now, your property valuation is built for you to hold on for 10 years. That's how it's built, or 10 years plus. It's going to take you some time to actually get there. And as I mentioned, 6 to 12 months is largely where you'll start to see you get right back in line with those evaluations. So yeah, so this is the first property at 8414 Free Avenue. You can see that property management expense down at the bottom, $19.85. That's the tenant placement fee, along with some property management fees that we've earned in rental income along the way for those 3 months there. So, yep. Next one, we've got the property at Camfield Street. So another new construction home for Donna, and a lot of the same concepts here, right? You're seeing that her return on investment, nobody is fired up about a 1.36% ROI, except if you compare it to where your money in the stock market would have been, you're gaining 15 to 20% there. But this is really just timing. 3-4 months in, everybody's property is going to look like this. This is very normal. The difference here is that you have a loan in place. So you can start to see the gross rental income, but you also have principal and interest expense. So you have that mortgage payment to make every single month. No maintenance cost, which is the way that we expect it to be right off the bat. And you do have that property management expense, which is largely that tenant placement fee. And that's really why your returns are lower in the first few months. And again, over the course of 6 to 12 months, over the first year, you're going to see your returns get right back to that expected return. And your overall expected returns, I don't have the numbers in front of me of what they were when you purchased those homes, but probably somewhere around 9% overall return on investment IRR is probably right where you were. So Donna, so really cool to see kind of the breakdown of your assets. And I just think your story is even cooler, right? Like to think about the journey that you have been on. Not many people would have been given the same set of circumstances and chosen the path that you did. And just I'm inspired by your story. So thank you for being you, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm honored. Thank you.